Three strangers, all logged in incognito, were watching my LinkedIn profile in real time. They thought I couldn't see them. I could see everything. By the next morning, a senior executive at a £58 million company was on the phone with me, apologizing like her job depended on it. Because it did. This is the story of how a hidden €49 charge on my son's Christmas present turned into a war I never asked for, and how I won it from my kitchen table with nothing but a phone, a screenshot, and a promise I intended to keep. If you've ever been talked down to by a company that thought you were too small, too tired, or too broke to fight back, stay for this one. Hit subscribe, drop a like, and let's get into it, because what this company tried to pull 3 days before Christmas was low, even for them. My name is Daniel Whalen. I'm 38, I live outside Cork, and until last Christmas I thought I understood exactly how much patience I had. Turns out I had more than I knew, and a company called Sprint Fit Sports was about to test every last drop of it. My wife, Aoife, and I are both on disability. It's not a secret and I'm not ashamed of it, but I'll tell you this. When you're raising a 9-year-old on a fixed income, every euro gets counted twice before it leaves your account. So when Christmas rolls around and you finally scrape together enough to get your kid something he's been dreaming about since summer, that gift means something different to you than it might to someone else. Our son Jamie is football mad. Doesn't matter if it's raining, freezing, or pitch dark outside. That ball is at his feet. So when Aoife found a football rebounder on SprintFit's Irish website, one of those trampoline-style nets that kicks the ball straight back at you, we didn't think twice. We ordered it from their Irish site in euros, with an Irish delivery address. Simple. Done. Ticked off the list. Or so we thought. A notification landed on Aoife's phone a few days later. A courier company, the big brown uniformed one everybody knows, was informing us that customs charges were due on a parcel. Nearly €50. Now we'd ordered a fair few things for the kids that December, so our first instinct wasn't panic, it was confusion. We ran through everything in our heads. Nothing else was still in transit. Nothing else was coming from outside Ireland. Aoife rang the number to figure out what on earth this charge was even for, because as far as either of us knew, we hadn't bought a single thing from outside the country. It turned out to be the rebounder. SprintFit, an Irish website, taking euros, showing an Irish flag at checkout, had quietly shipped the item from a warehouse in the UK. It had gone through a British courier first, who then handed it off to the brown uniformed lads for the final leg into our estate. Somewhere in that chain, a customs charge had attached itself to our son's Christmas present like a leech nobody warned us about. I felt that specific kind of heat crawl up the back of my neck, the one you get when you realize you're not being asked for money, you're being cornered into it. The courier wasn't going to release the parcel without payment. And it was 3 days before Christmas. There was no version of this where Jamie didn't get his rebounder. Pay it, I told Aoife. I'll deal with the company. I meant that as a promise to myself as much as to her. I rang SprintFit's customer service line the next morning, coffee in hand, fully expecting a 5-minute conversation and a refund. I've worked in a call center myself years back, so I know exactly how thankless that job is. I wasn't going to be the guy screaming at some minimum wage rep who didn't set the policy. I was calm, patient, polite, even through hold music that looped so many times I could hum it in my sleep. 20 minutes on hold. Explained the situation. Asked for a manager. Someone will call you back within the hour. Nobody called back. That I rang again that afternoon. Another 20 minutes of hold music. Another explanation. Word for word the same as the first. Another promise. A manager will definitely call you back today. Nobody called back. By the third call, something in me had gone very still and very focused, the way you get when you've stopped being surprised and started taking notes. The third day, I got a rep named Kevin. Pleasant enough voice, clearly reading from a script, clearly told to make problems disappear without spending company money. I laid it out plainly. Under Irish consumer law, a retailer has to disclose any additional mandatory charges, including customs and duty fees, before the final checkout screen. Not buried in a T&C's page nobody reads. Not implied. Disclosed. And I'd already gone back into their site, put the exact same rebounder in my basket, and walked it all the way through checkout while Kevin was on the line. Nothing. Not a single mention of an import charge, anywhere. Kevin tried to help. He offered me a €20 gift voucher for a company website I now had zero interest in ever using again. Then he read me a line clearly straight off a script card. We advise our customers that there may be DDU charges, delivery duty unpaid, on any items shipped outside the UK. Where does it say that? I asked. Show me where on the Irish checkout page in euros for an Irish customer that sentence appears. Silence. Then quietly, I don't actually know. That was the moment. Not shouting, not slamming a fist on the table, just a quiet, total certainty settling into my chest. They knew. Somewhere in that building, somebody knew exactly what they were doing. And they decided a family on disability quietly eating a €50 hit at Christmas was an acceptable cost of doing business. I'm going to give your company one last chance, I told Kevin, steady as I could manage. Have a manager call me within 60 minutes or I put every detail of this, including this call, on LinkedIn. And I tag every senior officer your company has, all the way to the CEO. I hung up. I watched the clock. 60 minutes came and went. Nothing. I want to be honest about what that silence felt like. It wasn't really about €50 anymore. We'd already found the money. Jamie already had his rebounder wrapped and hidden in the attic. This was about being made to feel small. Being handed a script instead of an answer. Being quietly told, without anyone actually saying it, you're not important enough for us to bother. I sat at the kitchen table that night after Jamie had gone to bed, laptop open, and I thought about exactly what I had. I had screenshots of the courier's charge notice. I had my own checkout screen showing zero mention of customs fees. I had the recording in my memory, word for word, of a rep admitting on a recorded line that he didn't know where their own policy was disclosed. I didn't have much money. I didn't have a lawyer on retainer. What I had was a LinkedIn account, a functioning brain, and every senior officer's name sitting right there in SprintFit's own Meet the Leadership Team page. I wrote the post the next morning. Calm, factual, no exaggeration needed, because the truth was damning enough on its own. A company hiding a customs charge from disabled customers 3 days before Christmas, then ignoring 3 separate requests for a manager. I laid out the timeline. I attached the screenshots. And then, one by one, I tagged them. Regional managers, country directors, the head of European operations, all the way up to the CEO. I hit post and closed the laptop like I just dropped a match somewhere I couldn't take back. By that evening, the rebounder listing had vanished from SprintFit's website. No explanation, no out of stock, just gone, like it had never existed. I actually laughed out loud when I saw that. Do they really think deleting a product page erases the internet? I typed rebounder into their own site search, and there it was cached, indexed, sitting right there in the results, even though the direct page was down. Screenshot. Then a Google cache pull showing the page exactly as it looked 2 days earlier. Fully live, fully in stock, fully priced. I added it as a comment on my original post. Interesting timing on this disappearing act. Then I tagged every single one of those executives again, for anyone who'd missed it the first time. That's when I noticed something on my profile analytics. 3 separate views logged as private or incognito within the same 20-minute window, right after my second post went up. No names, obviously, but the timing wasn't subtle. Somebody, somewhere inside that building, was watching this unfold in real time and didn't want their name attached to the click. I screenshotted that too. Added it as a second comment, and now we got some very curious, anonymous visitors. Wonder who that could be. At that point, the post had stopped being a complaint. It had become a spotlight, and nobody at SprintFit had a way to switch it off. My phone rang at 8:30 the next morning. A woman named Claire, calling from SprintFit's UK head office, introduced herself as a senior executive in customer relations. Her tone was a universe away from Kevin's script reading. She was practically tripping over herself, apologizing, asking what she could possibly do to fix this. I let a beat of silence sit there before I answered. Not for drama. I genuinely needed a second to decide how far I actually wanted to take it. Originally, I told her, all I wanted was my €49 back. That's it. That would have ended this 3 days ago. But you made me build a public case against your own company to get a phone call returned. So now I want my €49 back, a full refund on the entire order, and we're keeping the rebounder." She asked for a couple of hours. An hour later, she rang again, confirmed my PayPal, sent the €49 on the spot, processed a full refund on the whole purchase, and told us to keep the product. A small, quiet acknowledgement that they knew exactly how badly they'd handled this from day one. That I thanked her. Genuinely. Not because the gesture erased 3 days of being ignored, but because I was tired, and it was finally over, and Jamie's Christmas gift was sitting safely in our attic with nothing owed on it anymore. Here's what I took from all of it. I'm one guy. No legal team, no leverage, no special connections. Just a laptop and the simple, stubborn refusal to let a company that turns over £58 million a year treat my family like an acceptable loss. My son doesn't know any of this happened. As far as he's concerned, Santa brought him a rebounder, and it's been the best Christmas gift he's ever gotten. That's the only outcome that ever actually mattered to me. Everything else was just making sure nobody got away with something they shouldn't have. If this one had you rooting for the little guy, smash that like button, and tell me in the comments, what's the most satisfying small guy wins story you've ever seen play out? And if you want more stories like this, hit subscribe, because there are plenty more where this came from.